Welcome to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast. I'm your host, Chris Spear. So here, we're going to talk about gear, grit, and the kind of stories you only get around a fire. It's all about learning, adapting, and keeping your faith strong. So whether you're a seasoned outdoorsman or just looking to unplug and reconnect, you're in the right place. So pull up a chair by the fire and let's get into it.
Well, welcome back to the fire, my friends. Today, we're talking about hammocks. But not just any hammock. I'm going to share my experience and thoughts with you about the Mitzli. I believe that's right. It's a weird pronunciation. It's a weird spelling. And actually, the spelling is Aztec, I believe it is. And it's hard for us English speakers to speak. But it's Mitzli hammocks. And it's one of the more unique and comfortable hammocks options that I have seen for camping or backpacking. Now, if you're like me, hammocks aren't just a sleeping option. They are the way of life for the outdoors. Now, in my book, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft, on page 96 and 97, I talk all about hammocks. That it reads, I usually use a hammock when I camp because of the simplicity and comfort, and I'm not eager to sleep on the ground. No, I don't know who is really. The only problem with the hammock is finding two trees that are perfectly spaced apart. If the trees are too close, the hammock will sag in the middle, making for a very uncomfortable night's sleep. If the trees are too far apart, you have to use extensions or tree straps. They're often sold separate from the hammocks, and hang those to be able to make your hammock higher because of sagging. But it will be more comfortable than if the trees were too close. Now, that's just a little excerpt there. And I love camping with a hammock. One, in the South Mississippi, it is warm most of the year round. Two, it keeps you up off the ground. And three, it's just more comfortable than the ground. You know, I can't stand sleeping on the ground. So, you know, a lot of folks try hammocks and they give up because they either don't have the right one or they don't know how to set it up right. They complain that the net was touching their face and they felt claustrophobic or cramped, and it wasn't worth the trouble. So that's where this Mitzli design really shines. And let me tell you, for the past 2 days, I have been filming a video on this thing. Actually, longer than 2 days, but I have really been working on this thing for the past couple of days. And we're going to get into all the details and everything about this. Primitive camping and bushcraft and going out camping and stuff is all about being able to talk about certain products and stuff like that. And so I'm not trying to sell you anything. Don't get me wrong. I will let you know if something comes along that I feel or I deem is great value to me, but I'll let you make the determination and you decide whether or not that is something that you would like, because I personally, I don't feel like I should be the kind of person that pushes products on people. You know, yeah, I get paid commissions here and there for different things. So, but I'm not here for the money. I'm here for the information. You know, information leads to transformation. Transformation leads to a better time in the woods. And so that's the same way with the Bible. Are you reading the Bible for information, or are you reading your Bible for transformation? So, but I know I used to be one of those. Last August, I went on a camping trip. It was so hot. It was like 109 degrees. It was so hot during the day, but we were kayaking down the river, and we got to the spot, Dave and I, and we got to this little spot and we decided to camp out there. And so we hung our lay flat hammocks, and man, let me tell you, I wanted to love that hammock. I wanted a real good lay flat hammock, and we got it set up, and all it did all night was try to flip me out. You could not move in that hammock. And it was just miserable. And I kept waking up every hour on the hour, claustrophobic. The bug net was hitting me in the face, and there was just no wind. I didn't have any kind of fan or anything like that, it was just hot and miserable. I sweated all night long, and then about 5 o'clock in the morning, it cooled off long enough for me to be cool, as in like cover up with a sheet. So, but anyway, this Mitzli hammock, what makes it different? So this hammock has a fixed bug net that creates more of a tent-like interior. And the way it's built, the net stays off your face so you can stretch out without feeling any kind of claustrophobia or any kind of crampedness. And it's got so much room in there. It's ridiculous. It's almost like sleeping on a full-size bed. It comes in two different sizes. This thing is large. The large is 106 inches by 55 inches. And the extra large is 118 by 71. That thing is huge. I mean, 72 inches is as tall as me. I'm 72 inches. That's 6 foot. I mean, come on now. That is 10 foot by 6 foot. Or just over 10 foot. 8 inches longer. And 118 inches by 71 inches. So this is crazy. So if you want to curl up small, go with the large. If you'd like to spread out and lay kind of diagonally for comfort, then you go with the extra large. And what I have is the extra large. I mean, this dude, let me tell you about this thing. It is like laying down in a full-size bed. I just said that a while ago without the mattress. It is nice and cool, and we're going to get into what it's made with and all that stuff here shortly. But it is nice and cool. It was 98, 99-ish degrees today, and it was about 90% humidity. It was supposed to threaten to rain all day long, but it never did. But it was hot, and I sweated a lot. But this thing, I got up in it, and it was amazing. It was enough room to stay cool. You're not overly heated. You're not bunched up. You're not claustrophobic. And I know I said that a couple of times in this. And when I go back and review it, I'm going to be like, oh, I said claustrophobic 100 times. But, dude, claustrophobia when you're hot really does matter. So it's built with a durable parachute nylon, and it's triple stitched. All the seams are triple stitched. The netting is fine enough to keep out no seams. So that's the claim. I haven't seen that yet. I have not used that yet, but it is fine. It is extremely, extremely, extremely fine. This is the finest net I have ever seen on a bug net for a hammock. I mean, I'm telling you now, it almost don't even look like a net. It almost just looks like sheer, see-through, sheer, like clothing. So the hardware is all solid. It's got extremely good carabiners, and the whole thing is, believe this, watch this now, listen to me when I say this, the whole thing is machine washable. Are you kidding me? I mean, really? Come on, dude. You could throw your hammock in the washing machine. That's crazy. So here's what gets it. So I typically carry a DD 3x3 tarp, and I carry a separate hammock. Now, for years, I have used the East Hills Outdoors, and I have used that thing, the Jungle Explorer. It was big enough, and it was pretty cool, but it did not do like this one does. And it has spreader bars, which opens everything up kind of like a tent. You put this tent bar in there, or tent stake in there, and it's kind of arched, and it locks in on each side, and then it just balloons out. And that way you have plenty of room. And I think we'll get into it here in a minute, but it is for up to 600 pounds is what they're claiming this thing. I haven't tested that theory out because I don't want to put 3 people up inside of three 200-pound people up inside this thing to find out, but if it's an extra large hammock, it should be able to take care of 2 adults. So you and your significant other. So the thing about the weight is it's 2.7 pounds for the large and 3.2 pounds for the extra large. And that's totally reasonable for, if you're hiking or backpacking or whatnot. And or you're tossing it into a boat or a canoe or kayak or something of the such. It packs down pretty small and to not be a burden. Now, the only thing that I found the drawback is that the aluminum bars or the aluminum tent poles, the aluminum poles which fluff it out for the bird net. I just saw a bird fly by for the bug net. That is the package is going to be that long. And so we're talking it's about 14 inches. All right. So it does make it maybe 12 to 14 inches, but it does make it kind of long because you could possibly fold it down smaller if it was not been for those poles. But it's still not that bad because I could still get it to fit inside my Rothko European rucksack. And I have used this rucksack now for many trips, and I'm telling you right now, I love this backpack. I love the backpack. I have had several backpacks, and who'd have thunk that I would have downsized from a 75-liter backpack all the way down to a 30-liter backpack. And then had enough, when you first start out, bigger is better. Whenever what's his name? Morse Kohansky said it the best. He said that the more you know, the less you carry. And that is so true. When you're out there in the great outdoors, practicing your bushcraft, your survival, your primitive camping, the more you know, the less you carry. And that's so true. I got my backpack down to 19 pounds. I could still whittle some weight off of it. But some of the things that I got in there are convenience items that I want just to have, that I want to, they're like toys and, I want them just to do them. So, but at 3.2 pounds, the thing does not weigh bad. It's not bad at all. My other hammock was right at 4 pounds, 4 pounds, 8 ounces, I believe. 4.5 pounds, actually. So this is lighter, but I did not weigh the rainfly. I did not weigh the rainfly. Shame on me for doing that. So this weight is totally reasonable for backpacking or tossing into a canoe or some other conveyance when you head out into the woods. Now, setup is straightforward. It's got carabiners, it's got tree straps, and you're done. That's it. And then all of a sudden you feed those little bars right through. It looks just like a tent. You feed that little bar right through that little hole. What do you call that? That sleeve. It's a sleeve. You feed that little pole right through that sleeve, and then you lock it in on one side, you lock it in on the other. Now, I'm not going to talk about tree protection. I get so many comments on my YouTube pages and my TikTok pages and all my pages that they're like, oh, you're going to kill that tree. That strap's going to kill that tree. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? Yeah, let's not go there. All right. So I'm not going to talk about that. Just get your straps on a solid tree and you're good to go. It's an easy system and it all packs away without wrestling very much. Now, let's talk about the rainfly, the tarp, the cover. This thing that comes with it, this tarp is comparable to the double D 3x3 in build quality. It has built-in ridge lines. It has a built-in ridge line, and it has it's got grommets, sewn in grommets and everything for the ridge line, specifically sewn in to be a ridge line. and you've seen this kind of stuff before probably. So the only thing I did not like about it was the fact that they gave you some of those little plastic, kind of look like at the ends of a tarp or a tent, whenever they give you those little guy outlines, the tensioners, and they wanted you to use that to tension the tarp up with. And I'm like, no. So what I did is I put overhand loop knot on one side, and I went around the tree and used the toggle. Then I made a prusik knot for both ends of the fly, and a prusik loop, I'm sorry, and then put the toggle through there and tightened it up. And then on the other end, I used a trucker hitch, and it seemed to work out perfectly fine for me. And the video is going to come up in the next few days or something like that. So, or by the time this podcast hits, it would have already been out for a couple of days. But when you're out there in the woods and you're setting this dude up, it is almost the same quality as the DD 3x3. The only, I'd say, not downfall, but the only difference, let's say the difference is the coverage. It is not a full 3 meters by 3 meters, and it is kind of octagon type shaped. It does have a zipper portion in the middle where you can flip a fly up over the top of it, and it will latch to the ridge line, and then you can get in and out of your hammock as you please there, or you could just leave it the way it is. And it does have a rain zipper over that. And I was hoping it would rain today. That way I could test this dude out completely. I wanted to test it out, put it up, set it out, whole 9 yards, see what it did in the rain, but it did not rain. So I got the hammock still setting up. And I set it up here at Camp What the Heck yesterday. And I was like, no, that's not a good enough video. I want to set up the entire thing. So I shot the whole thing. I got halfway through, and like I spent hours recording this thing, and my microphone come unplugged halfway through. So I'm going to have to do some voiceover work and stuff like that. So it is what it is. If stuff like that didn't happen to me, we would not have a Spear Outdoors or Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast or any of that, because that is the story of my life. This kind of stuff happens all day, every single day. Now, the Mitzli is one of those hammocks you could live out of for several days without feeling like you're sacrificing comfort. Because I literally felt like I was laying flat. I'm going to be giving this a good camping trip and trying it out for a couple of days, and I will let you know. But I already emailed the company and said, hey, I love this hammock, and I am going to be using this hammock as my official hammock for all of my Spear Outdoors videos. So it's going to be ingrained in all my videos from here on out, because I mean, for the price, you can't beat it. This hammock is $69 on Amazon with the rainfly. $69. Now I have in my possession some $200 to $300 hammocks that were sent to me and for videos that, I'm sorry, are horrible. I cannot sleep in them. And we're talking top of the line hammocks, top quality hammocks. And some of these are featured on big name TV shows, big name survival people use them. And I cannot stand these hammocks. I can't do it. So, and that is everything about gear and equipment. What works for you probably won't work for me, and what works for me is not going to work for you. There's a happy medium in there, and that's why we're all different. If we were all the same, what kind of a boring life would this be, and how rich would all the outdoor brand companies be? Because we would all buy the same thing. It would be a monopoly. So I have between $200 and $300 hammocks. Dave can vouch because he's got one too, and they are not And I'm sorry, but they are not the best hammock out there. I know. So I've been attacked by some no-see-ums out here and some skeeter bugs, but that's okay. The show must go on. So when you're laying in your hammock and you got your net all zipped up and you feel secure, you ain't got no bugs, you don't have any worries. It's just you and the great outdoors, the quiet. That completely reminds me of Psalms 4, verse 8. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Out here in the woods, you realize that safety doesn't just come from a well-built hammock or a good bug netting. Those things help, but real peace comes from trusting that God is watching over you. Whether you're out under the stars, you're in a tent, in a hammock, or walking through the hardest moments of your life, knowing that God is there watching over you and leading you is the best part of the whole thing. And like I kind of touched on the other day, my wife and I we're walking through some very difficult circumstances. And it is very hard for us to walk through. And it is very easy for us to throw in the towel. It is very easy for us to look at each other and get aggravated with each other. But we can't do that. We have to trust that God is in charge, that God is in control. And, through the circumstances, through the situations, we do see his hand in it. His hand has been in it all the way from the beginning. It's just hard to understand different things. And, once it's all said and done and you're able to look back, you'll be like, wow, how did that work out like that? And that's how we're looking at it. We're going to get there. And, eventually I'll be to the point where I could divulge the entire thing. Maybe not. So if you've been on the fence about hammocks, the Mitzli, Mitzli, is worth a look. I promise you, it is worth the look. It's not the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. But it is built to last, and it solves a lot of the problems that people have when they go hammock camping. Now, I also emailed them and said, do you have an underquilt? If they had an underquilt for this thing, let me tell you, this hammock is a game changer for the price. So, I am a firm believer that you can get good quality gear for a decent price. And if you do, then if something happens to it, you will spend the same amount of money for the same piece of gear over and over and over and over. More knife. I got the Garberg. It's $67 or $70. It is a good piece of gear. BPS knives, $35. It's a good knife. Tony Powers has a Bobcat model that I purchased for $120. It is an amazing knife. It is handmade. He made it, and I bought it from him for $120, and it is my number one go-to knife. But, for years I used the Moore knife because it was cheap and because it was replaceable, and for years I've used the BPS knife. I remember when the BPS knife first showed up, I was like, man, this is an awesome knife. And then I remember whenever I skinned my first hog with the BPS knife, and I said that I would never skin an animal without that knife again, because that was typically any knife I've ever used, skinning a hog went dull before I got done skinning a hog. And this knife held its edge through the whole time skinning that hog. But my point is, if you find gear that works for you, that is relatively cheap, inexpensive, and is easily to be replaced if something happens, it is worth it. If you go and spend $400 or $500, let me back up. For $69, did I mention that this hammock comes, and the fly comes with a lifetime warranty. Yes, sir. It comes with a lifetime warranty. That blew my mind. So for $69, this thing has won me over. And it has a lifetime warranty. I mean, come on, man. For a $69 hammock, you cannot beat that. You can't beat that. So if you've been on the fence about hammocks, the Mitzli, Mitzli, is definitely 100% worth the look. It's not the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. But it is built to last, and it solves a lot of the problems that people have when they go hammock camping. And remember, just like you need the right shelter in the woods, you need the right foundation in life. There's no better foundation than trusting the one who gives real peace and safety. So that's it for today's campfire talk down here at Camp What the Heck. And drop your hammock setup and your tips in the comments. Head on over to Primitive Camping and Bushcraft, the group on Facebook. Join the group and get into the discussion with us. And as always, in all of your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
Thanks for sitting around the fire with me today. If this episode gave you something to think about, if it helped you feel a little bit more prepared, or it even stirred your faith a tiny bit, go ahead and share it with someone else who might need it as well. We don't go camping to run away from life. We come out here to slow down and recharge. So grab another log, throw it on the fire, and remember this: in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I'll see you next time. God bless you.